Hey there. So today we're looking at the very beginning of the very last module for 5th grade. This happens to be, as you can see right up here, we've got module 6 and this first one. Check it out. So we have in here where it's asking us to identify the locations of these shapes, and it's really easy because like this one, first or second grade level, right? Can you identify a 3? Yeah. Then we move on up to like 3rd or 4th grade level where we're actually looking at the difference between 6 and 9. And so then we've got counting happening, right? 6, 7, 8, 9. So then you'd know this is 8, 2nd grade, right? Skip it. Move on. Here we go. Let's get to 5th grade, shall we? Use the number lines to answer the questions. Plot T so that its distance from the origin is 10. So we're looking at origin. What do you think that means? Look at this number line here. Origin. Where do numbers begin? Oh, they originate in nothing. And then if you don't have nothing, then you have something, right? And then your somethings just keep on growing. So this one is thinking that plot T so that its distance from the origin is 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here's 10 right here then. And we're going to put a T there for 10. Isn't that funny? All right, so now check this one out. This one's getting into some fraction action here. And we can tell if this big line right here is a 3, that means that this is probably a 2, and this is probably a 1. But then they're broken up into pieces. So 1 space, 2 spaces, 3 spaces, 4 spaces. And just like when we make things on the board, we know that if we have a rectangle, we're going to break it into 4 parts. We're going to use 3 lines. 1, 2, 3 lines. So this is broken into fourths. So P right now is sitting at 5 fourths. What it's asking us to do is plot an M, so its distance is at 11 fourths. So if this is 4 fourths, this is 2, which is 8 fourths, right? Right? So if this is 8 fourths, you're going to add 4 more to that. So this is going to become 12 fourths, which means 11 fourths is here. That's going to be M. So we can do the math on this and find what's the difference because it's asking the distance from P to M. So we're going to take the bigger one first, 11 fourths minus 5 fourths. And what do you get? You get, we know it's not 4, it's 6. 6 plus 5 gets you 11. So at 6 fourths is the distance between the two. T, we've already done. Keep moving. Plot a point that is 15 hundredths closer to the origin than Z is. So if we're looking here, we don't have an origin on here, do we? But we know that if this is the smaller of the two numbers, and it is 75 hundredths, here's a hole, we know that the origin is off over in this distance somewhere. Way out of reach, really. So if we're going to go 15 hundredths closer, let's see what we've got here and how we can figure out what each one of these must be worth. So if this is 75, we count by 5s. Let's try that. 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. So 100 hundredths, same as 1. Remember all that? So if each one of these is worth 5 tenths, right? That's what we just did, is we added 5 tenths to it each time, or 5 hundredths to it each time, sorry, because we went from 75 to 80. So we want to go 15 closer this way. 5, 10, 15. Closer to the origin, and the origin's off over in this direction. So that one, it doesn't even tell us what to do, other than just make a point. So we're good. Now we look at this one. Plot U, so its distance from the origin is 3/6 less than that of W. So if this is a 10 and this is a 9, our origin is in this direction. and we have to look at sorry, can't talk right now. W, we want to go 3/6 less than that. So here's 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, 6/6. That's the difference between 9 and 10. And here we are. We want to go 3/6 less. So we're going to take 1 away, 2 away, 3 away, and here's where point U would be. Now let's take a look at the next one. As far as looking at how the numbers are in relation to each other, this is, it says right here, number line K. This is a cursive K, which I know is foreign to you, but that's what we still use. Shows 12 units, 0 all the way to 12. Use the number line to best answer the questions. Plot a point at 1. Label it A. Our number line doesn't start at 1. It starts at 2. Let's find the difference between 2 and 4. It's broken into 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. We know that there's halfway between 2 and 4. We know halfway between them is a 3. So these halfway marks are going to look like that, right? So this then would have to be our 1. So these are kind of like half, 2 halves, 3 halves, 4 halves, and so on. Label a point that lies at 3.5 as B. So here's 3, here's 3.5. That must be B. Let's go to the next one. Label a point C whose distance from 0 is 8 units further than that of B. So we have B here, and we need to go whole units. So it's going to, let's see if this will work, see if we have further enough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That would put it here. And that is 7 1/4. 7 1/4. But then just let's double check, because if we're going actual units, if we are at this mark right here, right before the big line, 1 unit, each one of these is kind of like 1 unit then, because it's a whole number. Let's check and see if we could do one where we are going whole numbers. So we know that this will take us a whole unit then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it could also too be here as B. So depending on how you look at this and what you're defining your units as, it could also be, we'll say, or 11 1/4. Actually, no, it's going to be 11 1/2, isn't it? 11 1/2. This one would be half too, because that's what we were looking at, was halves. Anyway, pretty interesting thinking. Plot D, whose distance from 0 is 6/12 less than that of B. 6/12 less than that of B. So if we look over here, and 6/12, 6/12. Can we just simplify that to 1/2? And they are all halves. So if it's half less than B, that's going to end up here. And so that is D. And its coordinate is the 3. So we're going to put 3 here. All right, what I would like for you to do, I'm not going to go scrolling down further because it's then kind of awkward having to bounce back and forth. I'm going to go ahead and have you do an exit ticket problem right here. So it says use number line L, and yep, that's an L in cursive. There you go. Plot point C right here, C, so that its distance from the origin is 1 whole. So it doesn't give you an origin on here. You have to figure it out. if this is 1 3/5, 1 3/5, you know then that this must be 4/5, because a whole number would be 5/5 then, 1 5/5. And then if you count backwards, this is going to be 1 2/5. Now you can find 1. Just keep moving along those lines. Plot point E, 4/5, closer to the origin than C. So C is not there yet. You're going to put that in there. And then you have to say, where is it? What number? And then plot a point at the midpoint between C and E and label it H. So in order to do this, you need to draw a number line. It would be best to use a ruler. Oops, I was about to write rooter, not a rooter. Don't be any rooter. Use a ruler. Here, make a fancy L. There. Use a ruler. And that will get you there. See you tomorrow.